Greetings and welcome to Our Schools Monthly, the video program sponsored by the Port Huron Area School District, designed to keep you informed of what's happening in our schools. Today we have a special program because we're going to reflect on a few things that took place at the end of the school year. And our very first guest is Becky Kohanoff, 5th grade teacher at Thomas Edison Elementary. Hi, Becky.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us today. Now, Becky, you're here to talk today to our studio audience about destination imagination. And that's quite a mouthful when you throw it all together. We all say DI teams.
Yes.
But I understand that you are a coach with your husband of the 2nd grade team, and it will be the 3rd grade team at Thomas Edison Elementary. And your husband and Bill Harder, your husband is Phil Kohanoff, Dr. Phil, and Bill Harder were the coaches for the 6th grade team this year that went to further accomplishments. And I don't want to steal your thunder as my guest. So thank you for being with us, and we'll talk a little bit about it. What is destination imagination?
Destination imagination is a cooperative learning and problem-solving program for children. They're given what we call long-term problem that they need to work on for a good portion of their time. And they have to solve this problem on their own using a limited resources and come up with as creative and entertaining and practical a solution as they can.
Okay, now when you say a problem, though, I don't want the audience to think of it as a math problem or a science problem. So it's really kind of a challenge when we define what the problem is. It's something that they're going to tackle and make a presentation out of so that they address whatever this is and give kind of a response to the theme, right?
Right. There are actually 5 different types of problems each year, and one is a standard problem where they have to build a structure that will hold a certain amount of weight.
Okay.
One is an obstacle course where you have to create a vehicle that will move and do a certain tasks without assistance from humans. Another one is an improv problem where they are given something 30 minutes prior to performing. They bring some things with them that they've worked on, and then an awful lot of things are thrown at them at the last minute. Then there are usually 2 theatrical problems. One has more of a scientific element to it, and another one has more of a theatrical elements that are accompany that.
Performance-based.
Exactly.
So which one did your team do?
They are very theatrical.
Okay,
That's
very
always
theatrical.
their choice.
This is both the 2nd grade team at Edison and the 6th grade team at Fort Gratiot?
Right. They chose to do the same problem, but they competed at different levels.
Okay. Now, the interesting thing to me is that even though they have adult sponsors or coaches, the adults really aren't supposed to take a major role. It's not like Boy Scouts where Dad builds the car and you race it down the hill in the soapbox derby.
In fact, my daughter's team, they were struggling to find a song that they could add to their script, and it was just so obvious to me, and I didn't say anything to them until after their competitions were all done, and then I said, I can't believe you didn't come up with that
you
song.
Didn't think of this. So what did they come up with one, or did they create
They did,
one?
but not the one I thought they should have used. But,
this would have been.
Yeah.
And now, are the adults allowed to use like power tools in case they have to build something?
No. In fact, I've acted as a judge for the last 5 years at the competitions, and if a child has to use a power tool, they need to be taught how to use it safely. If it's a tool that they cannot use safely, then they need to come up with another way to achieve whatever it is they want to achieve.
So no skill saws.
No, in fact, well, our team, when they were 3rd graders, they had a large tube that they wanted to cut in half, and so it probably took them an hour using a handsaw to cut that in half because they just weren't old enough to use anything larger.
Under a safe guideline.
Right.
Okay, so we have now a reputation in the Port Huron Area School District, if you will, that teams from Edison and Fort Gratiot have done fairly well in the past. And this year, the 2nd grade team and the 6th grade team qualified to go beyond the state competition, but only the 6th grade team went. Is that correct?
No, only the 6th grade team qualified to go on to globals. But this year was a very good year for our teams. We had 6 teams qualified to go from the regional level to the state level.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yes.
Okay.
And that was really quite amazing, I thought.
Now, did the second grade team not perform at the state level?
No, they did. They
Okay.
came in 4th place.
Oh, wow, okay.
They were very close.
Because somewhere I heard that one of the teams could go, but they weren't going to go because they would be competing against much older teams, and so their chances weren't good anyway, and it was a lot to ask of them. Maybe I just misunderstood
Perhaps
it.
that was a different year. I'm not
Okay.
familiar with that scenario.
Okay, so this year then, teams did do well at the state competition, and at the 6th grade team did what? They took second, didn't they?
They did.
At state competition,
Yes.
which qualified them then to go to the nationals,
Right.
which were held in
Tennessee.
Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yes, Knoxville.
Okay. And so the 6th grade team then, how did they do at globals?
Well, they did very well. They were in the top third, which for them we were very happy about. Last year when they went, they were in the 5th grade, which they were at the top section. They were competing against 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders.
Right.
This year they were 6th graders competing against 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
So this year they
we
were the
felt-
little fish in the big sea.
Exactly, exactly. So we were
Okay.
very proud of them. They did a good job. And
Oh, but we need
worked
to
hard.
identify that global competition too could come from any of the 50 states and
Oh,
from
yes.
foreign countries as well.
Well, it's the top 2 teams from all
Anywhere.
the states that participate, as well as 11 countries. So they were 20th out of 65 teams. So we were proud
I think
of them.
that's
They did-
quite the
they did well.
accomplishment,
They did
especially
well.
since the coaches, the adults, are not allowed to actually take an active role in the
Yes.
preparation. So what happens at globals then when they go to Knoxville? How they do their performance? They're given a time limit.
Yes, it's usually 8 minutes.
Okay.
They have to set up, do the performance, and then it's over. They don't have to clean up during their
Okay.
8 minutes. And at the end of the performance, the judges will come up and ask them how they made certain things. How did you come up with certain ideas? And it's really a chance for the kids to show off, the things that they're proud of.
And I would guess as a judge that that's your chance to say, I don't think you did this quite by yourself. And you can probably get a feel for that.
Yeah,
maybe
you
you had a
do
little too
kind
much
of
coaching.
You do kind of question that as a judge. It's sort of some of the things that you look for. One would hope by the time you would get to that level that those sort of things wouldn't be there. But they created a bubble machine this year that they were very excited about. Their skit took place in a laundromat, and they started out at the regionals with just a bubble gun. And when they watched the video, when it was done, they thought, that was kind of anticlimactic ending. So they tried it using, I think, 2 at state, and it still wasn't very good. So then they went and got the whole bubble machine and made that out of a chicken wire and a bucket and
Oh my
an
gosh.
old fan and
Yeah.
stuff. So that was very exciting.
Dip it in, take it out, the fan blows the bubbles maybe?
No, I think they turned the crank, they plugged the fan in, and then there was one, there's our backstage guy, Jade, and he would turn the crank and just bubbles galore
Everywhere,
came
yeah.
out. So it was fun.
Great. Well, let me mention the names of the teammates from Fort Gratiot. And I'm sorry, I don't have the 2nd grade team
Oh,
here
that's
because
okay.
we were focusing on the global competition. But Megan Alquist, Brad Harder, Jade Heacock, Erica Johnson, Rachel Kohanoff, gee, that name sounds familiar, Caitlin Sheehan and Brett Young were the teammates, and then Bill Harder and Phil Kohanoff, Dr. Phil, were the sponsors or the coaches. And then do you remember who the 2nd graders were, if you'd like to mention
Oh,
them?
it's Zachary and Spencer Kohanoff, Jake Spencer,
I'm putting you on the spot, I know.
Amy Zen, Alex Lovers, and Andrew Sufis.
Okay, great. So will there be Destination Imagination plans for the future?
Oh, I hope so. I can't stop thinking about it, but I'm a planner. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that next year we can get some other schools involved too. I would like to see us send more teams on to the regional competition.
Now, there were some other schools involved. I think Holland Woods has had teams in the past.
In the past, they have.
Was this
Kewanee
year, was
has
it
in the
only
past.
Edison and Fort Gratiot
Yes.
that had teams?
Yes, this past year was just those 2 schools. The year before that, there was a team from Kewanee.
Okay. But what it takes is parents who are willing to be involved but not too involved.
Right,
Willing to
right.
support the kids and be there when they're experimenting with things, but not, they have to hold back and can't take an active role in what the
Right.
kids do.
It is. It's a time commitment for the parents, and depending on the age of the children, it can be more frustrating than others.
Right.
But I would be happy to help, and I know Phil would. Anybody get off the ground? We would just love to see some more teams out there.
Okay, now I have to throw this in closing. I understand that you are the regional challenge master
I am.
for the Instant Challenge. I mean, that sounds like one of those game titles, but tell me what that is. What's the Instant Challenge?
The Instant Challenge is there are 2 portions of the competition, and one is the long-term challenge that we talked about.
That they work on and bring.
And the other thing that you practice, but it won't be exactly what happens, is you walk into a room and you don't know what you're going to find. You might be asked to create a commercial for a product that you must invent. You might be asked to build a structure. You might be asked to use a series of materials to create a boat that would float golf balls.
Okay.
And you have between 6 and 8 minutes to do this, and you, again, have no idea what that's going to be. So my job is to gather all these crazy materials together, and I get things copied, and it's all very secret. I have them taped up in boxes, and I take it over at 9 o'clock the night before so that it's all ready to go on the day of the tournament. So.
And that's the Regional Challenge Master title that you're describing.
Yes, it's
Well, it sounds like you do have a lot of fun with this, and we'd like to congratulate the teams from Edison and Fort Gratiot on their accomplishments, and especially the 6th grade team from Fort Gratiot taking among the top third titles in the global competitions in Knoxville. And best of luck to you next year. And if some other people in the audience would like to help sponsor a team, they can contact their local schools, see if there's a team that would like to be formed and how they can participate.
Absolutely.
Is that correct? Thank you very much. Appreciate you being here, and best wishes to you. And so don't go away. That's Destination Imagination with Becky Kohanoff. And we'll be right back with some other features in today's program. At the June 21st meeting of the Board of Education, those students that we were just talking about, the members of the Destination Imagination team from Fort Gratiot Middle School, were honored by the board and presented with certificates of recognition. We have a photo of them that we'd like to have you see because it's interesting to see exactly what these kids look like. And remember that they're working on a challenge that they present to a panel of judges. There's an audience in attendance as well, and they are given an instant challenge that they have to solve while they're there. They just have a few minutes to figure out what's going to happen. And please remember, these students took a high rating in the regional competition, the state competition, and were among the top third of the students out of 65 at global competition in Knoxville, Tennessee. Our congratulations goes out to the students and their coaches and the schools involved. In addition, several other students were recognized at the Board of Education meeting, and these were students who are members of the VICA team, and that's the Vocational Industrial Clubs of America. These students were awarded certificates of recognition for their accomplishments in hands-on fields of application. And I'd like to identify them for you and tell you what they did, because it's pretty surprising. Melody Ellick from Port Huron High School took 2nd place in state competition in collision repair technology with Jim Dodd as her teacher. Sean McMahon from Port Huron High School took 2nd place in marine technology with James Presley as his teacher. Kevin Stewart from Port Huron High School took 1st place in collision repair technology, refinishing with Jim Dodd as his teacher. And Chad Clark from Port Huron Northern took 1st place in arc welding with Tony Nager as his teacher. And these students attended classes at the ISD, and the gentleman that you saw on the far right of the picture was Tony Nager, who is the instructor who was able to attend the board meeting and represent the students as well. Finally, our board meeting was a very interesting opportunity for us to induct a new member of the Wall of Fame. And this year that member was Leon Burrell, who is a former graduate of the Port Huron Area School District, who is now a member of the Wall of Fame and is an instructor of a college in Burlington, Vermont. I'd like to share some information about Dr. Burrell with you and tell you why he was inducted into the Wall of Fame. And as I'm sharing that information, we have some photos for you to view. Dr. Burrell, the son of the late Robert and Edna Burrell, grew up in the south end of Port Huron. He played football for Port Huron High School for 3 years and graduated in 1958. From 1955 to 1958, he also served in the National Guard. Because the possibility of attending college seemed incomprehensible to him, after graduation he enlisted in the U.S. Air Force for 4 years, earning 1.5 years' worth of college credits during that time. After leaving the service, he enrolled at Michigan State University, where he earned 3 degrees, including a doctorate in higher education administration. While in East Lansing, he coached football at Okemos High School, taught special education at West Junior High, and worked as a counselor at Sexton High School. In 1971, he was recruited to join the faculty of the University of Vermont, where he served first as assistant, then associate professor of student personnel, Department of Organizational, Counseling and Foundational Studies, Social Work, and Social Services. He also continued his own education, earning a postdoctorate degree in social work from the University of McGill in Montreal. In 1979, he became a professor in the Department of Social Work, and over the years also served as adjunct faculty, associate chairperson, coordinator of the BSW program, and full professor in 1995. He became an emeritus professor with his retirement in 1996 and then accepted the responsibilities of vice chair of the Vermont delegation to the New England Board of Higher Education, a commitment he has made until the year 2006. Dr. Burrell has received numerous awards and honors, including the Eastern Educational Research Association President's Award for Outstanding Accomplishment in Educational Research and various grants for his work. He has been the guest speaker for a large number of conferences, councils, conventions, and studies. His professional professional services include chairing conference sessions, participating in symposiums, reviewing proposals for presentations, consultant positions, leading educational in-services, and workshops. His vita also lists a host of committees and special activities related to his expertise. He has had a myriad of articles published in professional and educational journals, along with 2 doctoral theses in his graduate work. In addition to this illustrious professional career, Dr. Burrell has also co-authored several books and recently celebrated his first solo publication, 2002, the life story of his uncle, Big Joe Burrell, a saxophonist and blues singer who also has Port Huron roots. Dr. Burrell still has family in Port Huron and visits his hometown regularly throughout the year. It was an honor for us to have him with us for induction into our district's Wall of Fame. Dr. Leon F. Burrell, the 2004 Wall of Fame inductee. We'll be right back with more of Our Schools Monthly. Now and then, schools throughout the district have a very special evening planned to demonstrate what students are working on in school and to let the parents celebrate with them the skills and talents that their children have developed. And such was the case at Thomas Edison Elementary under the direction of Janine Evenson, the art teacher, and a number of other teachers who were involved, such as Aaron Epley and Robin Bryan and the classroom teachers, when students had an opportunity to demonstrate their skills and appreciation for the fine arts. Let's take a moment to listen in on an interview I had with Janine Evenson that evening about what was taking place and see what the students were all about. Don't go away. It's a rather warm night in May, one of the first few that we've had, and there are thunderstorms threatening, but nothing can put a damper on what's happening here at Thomas Edison Elementary. Now, you'll be seeing this a little while after the event. This is May 10th, but we are here in the Edison Elementary. What is this room, Janine? Is this the library, the Media Center?
Media Center.
And we're going to talk with Janine Evenson, who is one of the founders and sponsors and co-organizers of this huge event taking place at Edison Elementary. Hi, Janine. How are you doing?
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Kraft.
I got to get used to the microphone. I don't usually have one of these in my hand. Janine Murphy Evenson, I should add.
Yes, sir.
And you are the art specialist that serves Edison and a couple of other schools in our school district.
That's right.
Okay. So tell us about the event tonight. What's going on here at Thomas Edison Elementary?
Well, I'm calling it an art experience because it's an art night. That's the title of it. But what it is, per se, it's an evening where people can come and experience the arts. We're going to have musical performances later from a variety of students at school. Some of them are going to pertain to color. Some of them are going to pertain to art itself. And then right now in this particular area, which is apropos, in the Media Center, we have a variety of artists majoring and emphasizing in different media. We have photographers, we have painters, we have graphic designers, textile artists, people that focus on the written word, such as a publisher, and then we also have someone a little bit more technical, an architect. So this is the area where people can meander through and view the different artists, see how their processes differ and how they're alike, and also there's student artwork displayed here as well.
Okay, so basically they can come and talk to people who are artists in various fields and see where art applies in the career field and maybe ask a few questions. I saw you interviewing someone earlier, and I think that was an illustrator, perhaps?
That was the publisher. She publishes a local literary magazine that features artwork as well, visual arts.
And I see the tables are strewn with art from students, and these were probably pieces that were on display during the Beatrice Thornton Art Exhibit that was recently conducted by the Port Huron Museum.
That's right.
Okay, and behind us is a dragon.
Yeah, actually some of these particular pieces pertain to things that were going on in the community. A few months ago, as you probably recall, there was the art exhibit at the Port Huron Museum that featured artwork of China. So this was something in connection with that. And we also have other artwork that connects to different types of media. We have an artist here that actually is a mosaic artist, and we have some second graders that are going to present a mosaic to the school, and clay pieces and artists that do focus on graphic design, and we've already done some of that in the curriculum as well.
Well, I noticed that when I first came in, I passed the culinary arts division. That was in the multi-purpose room, and there people were enjoying dinner, which I think was a prelude to this evening's program, really. I noticed the sign that said, come and join us for dinner at 5:30 and have a picnic. Basically, the proceeds will go to help the schools program, I believe.
Actually, it's going for accelerated readers. So again, we're combining two media or two different sorts of art. We're combining, reading and writing with the visual art. So it's just kind of a nice connection and focusing on two different areas, but again, it still ties in with the arts.
Well, I noticed that they had some face painting going on in there, and you were telling me there were a few other stations where kids could do artistic things, and that there are things going on all throughout the building.
Right.
But I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that in a short amount of time there will be some musical performances as well.
Yes, like I said, the fourth graders are performing some color poems. First graders are going to sing a Cyndi Lauper song, True Colors. We have a special guest artist, actually very special, my husband and Mrs. Epley, who's the music teacher here. She and he are going to be playing Starry, Starry Night, a song about Van Gogh. And we also have some students reading reports on artists, so those were something that they are going to present to the crowd as well.
Now, is your daughter performing tonight too?
Oh yes, the first graders are singing True Colors, but she's not going to be making, she's not doing a solo act tonight.
Okay, we have a little celebrity among us that your daughter has proven herself in the composition field, creating a musical composition, and has been recognized for that. We won't go any further than that, except to say that you're a very proud mom, and justifiably so. So this event then this evening goes from, I believe, 6:30 till 8,
Right.
and people are meandering through the building and looking at a whole host of activities that are going on. And you've mentioned what's here, and you've mentioned what's in the multipurpose room, and we're going to have some drumming later on and some singing.
I'm sorry, I forgot the drumming.
That's okay. The reason I thought of that is because of the colors. The drummers all have the tie-dyed shirts.
That's correct. A lot of kids have their own costumes on. They've designed their own shirts, which makes it kind of nice too.
And I noticed in walking the halls that there's a lot of art on display in the halls too.
Yep, we've had lots of students busy lately doing a lot of different work, but I think it makes it lends to the occasion.
Well, it's too bad that art just doesn't thrive here at Edison.
No, I just don't.
It seems like a stunted school. You know, there's just a problem here. The problem is there's not enough hours in the day for you to be able to do everything that you'd like to do.
But again, I have a perfect supervisor here to help us out, and he's always here to promote the arts and make us proud.
Well, I like that word, supervisor. That's quite appropriate. Thank you.
Manager, director.
Well, no, super is just the good part. Super, yes. Okay, that'll be our common joke. But anyway, we'd like to thank you for all the work involved in this, and I know that you're not the only one. There are other teachers who are involved. The whole school has probably been involved in getting ready for tonight, and obviously the students are as well, because I see an awful lot of families here, and it's great to see people involved in the fine arts and in helping their children enjoy the arts and to be creative in the arts.
Yes, I'm very excited. This has been a dream of mine, and actually the parents and the staff and the students have made it come true.
Is this one of those things where maybe somebody might say, well, I can't draw, and then discover that maybe there's some other fine art that they could participate in?
Exactly. Again, because the way I teach my curriculum, I don't focus on one particular aspect. My area of expertise is drawing, but if I just taught that, I would lose a lot of children. So I teach a variety of media, and I knew that this particular occasion would be a perfect opportunity for kids to really see how those different media are kind of applied in the community.
Yep. And we have an opportunity to see all kinds of things going on, down to the face painting.
Oh, yes.
Well, thank you very much again for the time that's involved and all the energy and the effort involved in this. And we'd like to thank Mary Jo Heck, the principal, too, and the custodian especially, who is going to need a great deal of thanks when this is over with for the cleanup. But best wishes to you on, and what is this called particularly?
Art Night.
Art Night at Thomas Edison Elementary on May 10th, 2004. And I think there was one last year, and there will probably be another one next year.
Last year was just a gifted and talented art exhibition. This year is something that it features every student and every child and every parent. The other show is just a limited amount of students, but this is really where it's at, getting more people involved and not excluding anybody.
So I imagine that tomorrow you'll start planning next year's event.
I think I already have some ideas in my head today.
Great. Well, let me know a little ahead of time, and maybe I can help you with that.
Sure.
Thanks very much, Janine, and thank you for letting me interview on the air. So don't go away. We'll be right back with another segment of Our Schools Monthly. Another event that took place in our school district, particularly at Keewatin Elementary School, gave the students an opportunity to think about how they'd like to study the history of Michigan, and in particular our community, and then make a presentation about what they learned. The students in Mrs. Cox's classroom came up with a real winning plan. They put together skits and commercials and presentations about how Michigan was formed, and especially our community and the things that were appropriate here, and created a broadcast. And so they taped their presentation and then had the opportunity to go on video conferencing and share what they created with other schools around the nation. Any schools that were interested had an opportunity to tune in and see what the students had created, and then through the video conferencing opportunity, the students there had an opportunity to talk to the students here and ask questions back and forth. For example, the video that you may have been seeing as I've been talking about this event, the students were located in New York City, and they were talking to students in Port Huron in real time, just as I'm speaking with you, only you could speak back to me and ask questions about what I was sharing with you, and they could talk back and forth about the differences between their schools, what the weather was like right at that moment, what their histories were like, and what the kids liked about the schools and the communities in which they lived. It was really an educational opportunity for the kids to find out more about where they lived, and then share that with their peers around the nation, and then ask and answer questions with students just like like them who lived in totally different environments somewhere else in the United States. After the video that you are seeing today, the students had an opportunity to make the same kind of connection with students in Minnesota, I believe. So they had an opportunity to learn totally different things about students just like them in totally different places. We want to congratulate Mrs. Cox's class, the students, and all their hard work and the opportunity they had, and we'd like to thank the ISD for assisting us in establishing the video conferencing hookup so that these students had an opportunity to share and learn with other students around the United States. Congratulations to all, and thank you for this opportunity. That concludes our program for today. We'd like to thank you for tuning in to Our Schools Monthly. We hope you've learned a little bit more about what's been happening in our schools, and we do hope that you will continue to watch programs like this and others here on CPHS 6 as we present to you the things that are going on in our schools. Give us a call, let us know what you think, and let us know what you'd like to see. But best of all, stay tuned, and thanks for being a great audience. Have a good evening.